We need to talk. Recently, I found myself in more and more situations where I'm speaking with creators who feel like they have been slapped in the face by the world of social media. They feel like they've been duped. They feel like they've been bamboozled. And they're coming to me and they're like, why is no one talking about the good, the bad, but also the ugly of growing a community online and growing an audience on social media? And I said, you know what? You're right. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to film a video about this. So if you are a content creator, you're an influencer, you're a business owner, if you are using social media in any way, shape or form, I need you to stick with me and watch this video because I'm going to be talking about some things that we really need to dive into. This video is brought to you by HubSpot. More on them later. Okay, so I'm going to be a real negative Nancy here and I'm going to start with the bad and the ugly, okay? Because this is the stuff that we need to just get out the door straight away. So one of the first things that we all need to be aware of when it comes to growing audience on social media is that it is difficult. Now, I know this might feel like a change in vibe from me because all of my content is basically centered on how I can make growth on social media or marketing in general feel easy to everyone. And that is still very much something that I'm going to continue to do. But I would be lying to you if I sat here and I was like, the whole process is easy. If I was like, do you know what? Follow a couple of steps and you're guaranteed growth. That's not how it works. Like point blank, that isn't how it works. I always say to my clients that it's not a case of if you follow these exact steps, then you will gain 1,000 new people in your audience every single week. It's not that. It's more a case of if we follow these steps, then we put ourselves in the best possible position to gain 1,000 new people every single week. It's about us doing everything we can to be looked upon favorably by the algorithms that power different social media channels. And when we do that, we increase the chances of us actually hitting the algorithm and seeing some growth. We don't guarantee it because there's no way of guaranteeing it because it's all tech. Like none of us can guarantee it. We don't guarantee it, but we do put ourselves in the best possible position to experience it, right? Now, that differentiation, I don't think is spoken about enough. And maybe I'm guilty of not speaking about that publicly enough either. Hence me filming this video. Completely possible to see a lot of growth on social media on any social channel this year and well into the future. Completely possible. A lot of my clients are doing it. I'm doing it right now. However, it's not easy, and also no one can guarantee anything. Another hard truth about growing on social media is that whilst there are so many different strategies and tactics that we can use, there really and truly are two core principles of growth that if you don't nail, though none of those other strategies or tactics will work, right? I'm really giving you the good stuff, right? So those two things, you know what these are because I talk about them a lot because I know how important they are, but also we tend to ignore them a lot. The first, you're going to hate me, is consistency. I even hate saying it. I hate saying it because everyone says it. There is a reason why everyone says it, okay? It is so difficult for any other tactic or strategy, any other hack to work if you are not creating and sharing content consistently on your respective channel. It is really difficult. It's not impossible, but it is difficult. And I'm going to give you a real life example. My Instagram channel at the moment, I've got 2 Instagram channels. One's for a business that I run and the other one is like the Jade Beason channel. The Jade Beason channel is slacking. Like I'm not posting very much at the moment. My focus is elsewhere and I use the Jade Beason channel more just to like stay connected with you guys. I have other social channels where I share fresh content, right? So I'm still posting, but not a lot. That account is still growing. I'm growing by maybe like 100 or so people a week, maybe. I don't even know, around that. Now, the only reason why that account is still growing, and I cannot stress this enough, the only reason why that account is still growing is because I'm consistent elsewhere. It's not because I'm magically managing to grow without sharing like a lot of consistent content. I am consistent elsewhere. I'm consistent here. I'm consistent on my other business channels. And therefore I'm growing an audience here and that's directing people to that channel. That is why that account is going. So there are a few instances where there are exceptions to the rules, but even then it's still not an exception because yeah, I'm not being consistent there, but I am being consistent elsewhere. Consistency is a thing what allows you to get better at creating content. It allows you to build trust and a deeper connection with your audience. It allows the algorithms to trust that you create consistent content too. It ticks all of these boxes and it's genuinely unavoidable. So I hope that's not bad news to anyone. I hope that's not new news. Like I think we all know that, but that is like one of the fundamental principles of growing on social media. The other principle is about value. Now, again, you would have heard me talk about this because it is important and therefore I make sure I talk about it in almost all of my videos. The idea here is that all of our content has to provide some form of value to our audience. If we are not providing valuable content to an audience, they are not watching it. And people are like, oh, I don't think that's always true. It is true. It's always true. And sometimes people are like, but I just saw someone post about an award they won. How's that valuable to us? And I'm like, it's valuable to us because we find it inspiring. There's value in everything. Oh, well, someone else just posted like a funny dance they were doing or when they tripped over on the road. How's that valuable? And I'm like, it gave you entertainment. That was valuable, right? Educational content is usually the only kind of content that we see as valuable, and that's not true. There's also content where someone is just sharing something that's really relatable and that's valuable too. If you think of your favorite piece of content you've seen from the past couple of weeks, I promise you there was value in there. You got something from that. And I hate to make us sound super selfish as human beings, but when we're on social media, we are being selfish. We are scrolling social media because we're looking for our next dopamine hit. We're looking for the next piece of content that gives us something. If a creator is never giving us anything, then we're not going to follow them. And no other tactic, no other strategy, no other hack, no amount of reels is going to change that if we're A, not consistent, the first principle, and B, if we are not providing value. Now, before we continue with all of my negativity, I'm going to take a quick break to share something positive with you. I have a completely free resource for you brought to you by HubSpot, which basically contains a bunch of different templates which will help you manage and build your community online. So let me break down what these templates are, right? So there's 3 templates and they're all designed to help you build an active and thriving online community. So these templates include a community member and journey map. So this is basically you mapping out how you engage with and manage a relationship with every single community member that you gain through social media or elsewhere, all the way from the second they come across you, all the way through to when they become like an advocate of you and your brand. Other templates include a community members profile, which allows you to break down all the different people that you have in your community and really get to grips with who they are. Super, super useful, especially when we're talking about creating valuable content for an audience. And then of course, there's the community launch to-do list. So this is great for anyone who's really ready to supercharge their social media community, maybe even bring it off platform and monetize it in some way. And basically this template will allow you to do that. So if you are growing an audience online, which I'm guessing you are because you're watching this video, and if you're really ready to convert that audience into community members, then I really recommend you checking out this free HubSpot resource. Of course, you can grab your free community management templates via the link in my description. Okay, so let's get back to like the bad and the ugly side of growing a social media audience, and then I'm going to make things a bit more positive. Do not stress. Now, other things we need to be aware of, right, is the hate and the trolls. I think we're all aware that this is a risk. In fact, this is one of the most common things that I hear from people when I'm having conversations about the reality of growing an audience online is the hate and the trolls and the fact that actually they don't wait for you to have a certain size audience, and actually they can just start attacking you basically. Even when you have a smaller audience, there really is no limit. Like no one's really safe from a troll. And the reason why is because trolls are literally looking for reasons to dislike strangers they've never met. Like it's literally like they sit down and they're like, cool, what reason can I come up with today for hating this random person I just found on TikTok? Like that's literally the vibe. Therefore, there's nothing you can do to make them not hate you. It doesn't matter what you create. I always remember when I first started my social media channels, I remember being surprised by getting trolls because I remember thinking, how could anyone hate the content I'm creating? Because I'm literally creating content. This is all free that helps people reach their goals and grow online. And and you're like, I don't get what is to hate about this. But turns out if someone wants to hate, they'll find a reason to hate. So with that in mind, what we're not going to do is let the opinions of random strangers who are literally set out to bring you down. We're not going to let those opinions stop us from pursuing our goals. Yes, you might get hate and you might get trolls. I promise you now it becomes a lot easier over time, especially when you really practice the process of distancing yourself from the opinions of people who just want to hate you. And trust me, it is a practice and you can get good at that. Okay, I'm living proof. Over time, it doesn't bother you as much, right? It's just a necessary evil that comes with growing an audience online that unfortunately all of us have to deal with at some point. But I'm confident that you will not let the threat of this stop you from pursuing your goals. Another thing that I have to flag, because this really is something that people don't warn you or talk about much, is in the beginning stages, it can feel super overwhelming. And I'm not just referring to the fact that it's a lot to learn and there's a lot of work to do, because I've got so many free videos on this channel that's going to help you through that. I'm more referring to what it feels like to open yourself up to the amount of feedback and communication that you get. In the early days, I essentially felt like I was having hundreds, if not thousands, of conversations with people simultaneously. Like, it felt a bit like I was being screamed at because there were so many comments and so much feedback. And I'm not even talking about negative ones. Like, the most lovely stuff that now is honestly one of my favorite parts of this job, the fact that I'm able to speak with so many people at one go. Like, it's my favorite part. It's like having a bunch of people who know you, who understand you, who are interested in the same things that you are. Like, genuinely, I treasure that now. It was overwhelming at first. It is literally like, oh my God, how do I answer everyone? How do I do this? Like, it's overwhelming. You get used to it. And as I said, it becomes your favorite part, but it definitely is overwhelming in the beginning. Let's talk about some of the good, shall we? Because there is a lot of good. But you guys already know there's a lot of good, because otherwise you wouldn't go on this journey of growing an audience online if you weren't already convinced that the reward is worth it, right? So there's the obvious stuff. For example, you can literally reach hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, billions of people for free using social media. Like, that is absolutely insane. If you went back 20 years and said to someone, by the way, in 20 years' time, you will be able to just speak with hundreds of thousands of people completely for free online. Like, no one's going to charge you. It's just going to be free. I feel like whoever you said that to would be like, oh, shut up. They'd be like, what are you talking about? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's insane, right? So there's that. There's also the fact that whilst the algorithms are pesky, shall we call them, and sometimes bother us, they do allow us to connect with a bunch of people who are interested in the same thing as us. Right? The algorithms actually ensure that our content is shown to people who care about the same stuff that we are talking about in our content. It literally facilitates our ability to build and find our community of like-minded individuals. And that is incredible. And we haven't even mentioned the opportunities that having an online audience will give you. And whether you think this is fair or not, because I know there are some people who don't think this is fair, this is quite literally facts. If you have an online audience, you will get opportunities that people who don't have an online audience may not get. Not guaranteed, but they may not get them. I'm going to take myself as the perfect example of this. I currently am a full-time content creator. I also run a media company called The Creator Project. I've been able to employ freelancers and now a full-time member of my team to help me run this company. I left my job. I have time freedom. I travel a lot for work. I get speaking gigs in front of like thousands of people. I would not have any of this if I didn't have an online community, which is quite a scary thought when I say it that way, but honestly, it's true. Like, you guys, the people in my community who subscribe to my channel, who follow me on social media, you guys are saying, any brand who might want to work with me or who might want to hire me for a speaking gig, you guys are essentially saying to them, hey, we like this person, we find this person's content valuable. And it's your trust that you give me by giving me your attention and watching this video, for example. It's that trust that you're giving me that actually allows other brands to trust me, and that unlocks all these other opportunities for me. So as you can tell by the way that I'm speaking, I'm incredibly, incredibly grateful for that. And that is honestly one of the biggest positives to growing an online community. The one that tops it all though, and the one that I know you guys are going to relate to, is the bigger the audience you have online, the greater impact you can have on people. The more people you're able to access and speak to, like when I sit down and actually think to myself for a second, like right now I'm looking to the camera, but I could be speaking to thousands of people. It genuinely blows my mind. Freaks me out a little bit too, but also blows my mind. So right now, by filming this video and sharing it to my YouTube channel, I could be positively impacting thousands of people's lives. And if it's not thousands, it could be hundreds. And if it's not hundreds, tens. Doesn't matter. The point is that social media is giving me the ability to positively impact multiple people's lives for free. And that alone is a good enough reason to ride all of those negatives that I spoke about at the start of this video. Okay guys, so that's it for today. God, that felt like therapy. I really hope you found this video useful. If you did, please leave me a comment. Please hit that like button. It really, really helps my channel. Do not forget to check out HubSpot's free community management templates. The link is in my description. If you feel like hanging around, I recommend watching this video. It's a bit of a chilled one, but it's more about my new business, how I created it, like the mindset blocks that I face and all that kind of stuff. So I really feel like you would like that one and you'd find it super interesting and valuable, hopefully. Thank you so much for watching this video. I cannot wait to see you in my next one.